Dive into the weekend with our flagship show, Fresh Fridays. Join us as we dissect the latest in culture, sports, music, and more, all while spreading positivity and good vibes. From insightful discussions to thrilling updates, Fresh Fridays is your ultimate guide to kicking off the weekend right.
A couple topics for today. We're gonna dive into three topics. The first topic is gonna be sports related. We're gonna talk about the NBA playoffs and what's going on. The second topic, we're gonna talk about music. A couple of albums that dropped, and also we want to talk a little bit about the rap beef that's going on. And then for the third topic, we're gonna have a conversation about life, and we gonna dive into that third topic, kicking it off with Haji. But for the first topic of the day, let's talk about the NBA playoffs. Right now, you got the Dallas Mavericks playing the Timberwolves, and right now the Mavericks are up 2-0. They stole two home games, and you got the Celtics. The Celtics are up 2-0 on the Pacers. I believe they play tonight as well, and they're looking to go up 3-0 and close out the series in the next couple of days. So I'll kick it off with Ace, and I just want to know his take on what's the playoffs, what's been going on. I want to hear what Ace got for the playoffs.
Uh, I think. Well, first off, I think the Celtics probably got the easiest road to the finals. Just my opinion. But they do have a good team. So I mean, what they did in the regular season is just evident here in the playoffs. They're a little wishy washy, but I think they'll get it done and get to the finals. Now, when they get to the finals, that's another story because they're missing um, a piece in Porzingis that I believe that they would need for them to actually win it all. But we'll see how it goes. If Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum continue to play great, then I don't really see nobody playing that team. And plus, the role players that they got in Drew Holiday and um, can't think of the other guys. I think it's Pritchard or something like that. They've all been playing well just as a unit. So on the East, they pretty much got that locked up. Now on the West, I feel like I don't know if any of y'all watched the game last night, but last night's game was pretty much back and forth.
Yeah.
The second half, the first half, the Timberwolves looked like they were running away with it. But they ended up giving up the lead going into halftime, and then Kyrie and Luka just came out and did what they normally do as far as closing games out. And then Luka doing what he does. I feel
Step
like
back.
that's gonna be a. It's. I mean, the series is a good series. Now, granted, the fact that the Mavericks are up 2-0 and then going back home to Dallas, I mean, it's a pretty daunting task. Trying to go in. I mean, they did it to the defending champs and beating the Nuggets and getting them out of there. So I don't put it aside from the Timberwolves actually being able to get a dub. But I just feel like what's at stake and just having that veteran and Kyrie and just he's been playing well and Luka's been playing well in the series. No matter how hard they try, I think the Mavericks might end up pulling that up. I don't know if it's gonna be a sweep or not. I ain't gonna call it too early, but the way it's looking, they might have that. They might have that in the bag too.
For sure. Haji, have you been watching the playoffs at all? Or keeping
Yeah, I've been
track?
watching the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, what's your
Um,
thoughts, man?
so my biggest thing is that game one for the Mavericks and the Timberwolves really set the tone for what the whole series was gonna be because they literally went to the Timberwolves home court and they handled business. I think the whole leader throughout the whole season, the leader been Luka Doncic, but Kyrie, like he literally set it off and he set the tone and he showed that veteran presence like Ace was talking about. And I really respect that because I mean, if you look at this playoffs, who can you really turn to and say, "Oh, I believe that they're gonna win it all"? I mean, of course, you have the favorite of the Boston Celtics, which they do have. I'm gonna talk about that a little later, but yeah, I agree. I do think that the Dallas Mavericks are gonna handle business. My only pushback would be that everybody once you put your backs against the wall, that's when you get their best fight. When you put a dog against the wall, back a dog into the corner, that's when you're gonna get their best fight. So I'm not saying when the Timberwolves get down 3-0, which I don't think they're gonna get down 0-3, but if they do get down 0-3, I believe that they'll at least win one more game and there'll be a gentleman's sweep. But this is a do or die game on the road in Dallas. But I believe that the Timberwolves, if anything, can come back from down 0-2. I believe it's Timberwolves as opposed to the Pacers. Not turn it over to the Eastern Conference side. It's sad to say, but I really was looking forward to a competitive series. I know that that just like in the Timberwolves game, that first game for the Celtics and the Pacers, that game really set the tone for the whole series. The Pacers let that first game slip out of their fingertips, because of poor coaching in the last 8 minutes of the game. In my personal opinion, taking out your starters and stuff when you up by 10, but that's neither here nor there. Second game, it was you know less competitive in that aspect. But I will say the better team overall, because these teams both have top five offenses, but the better team overall is the Boston Celtics, because they have the capability of playing defense with their big old wings. I'm not opposed to Pascal Siakam still being a top 10 wing in the NBA, but when you look at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I think that they are top five wings in the NBA. Just saying wings, not players, but just wings, being able to play offense and defense. I think Jaylen Brown is showing that he is a not if not the best player in this series, but he is the most pivotal person in the series. Not Jason Tatum like everybody be surrounded with, but that's just my 2 cents. Like, yeah, the Pacers, they had a good run, it was cool, but yeah, that might be a sweep in my personal opinion. We're gonna see tonight, but yeah, I think the Celtics got that one. They're gonna wrap it up and go to the finals, and then it's gonna be a toss up between the Pacers and I mean, not Pacers. It's gonna be a toss up between the Timberwolves and the Mavs if the Timberwolves win their next game on the road in Dallas, which I think they will. But yeah,
I like both of what y'all saying. I think we can all agree that the Celtics gonna wrap that series up in 4, max 5, and they're gonna get them boys up out of there. The Celtics, they just completely they're too powerful of a team in the and what's left of the Eastern Conference. So I think they're gonna get them up out of there, as stated. As far as with the Timberwolves and the Mavs, I don't want to count the Timberwolves out yet, because I think, like y'all said, that one team that got that dog and they can get them up, they can even out the series. I think that they can definitely push this series to 7. I'm gonna go on hot take and say it's gonna go 6 to 7 games. I don't see a situation where they go down 3-1 and get closed out. I don't see that happening. But hey, time will tell. I haven't been able to watch full games, but I've been able to watch a lot of highlights because I was on a cruise. But I was able to see the end of the game yesterday, and they got fight in them for sure. They was a couple plays away, and that's how basketball works, right? Like, you a couple plays away, a turnover here, not great defense, a bad switch, and you get a 3 from a great player, and that's the ball game, right? So yeah, man. So that's it for the first topic, and now we can dive into the second topic, which is going to be music based. So I'm gonna actually, once again, so Zai stepped away for a part second, so I'm gonna let Ace kick this one off with first, before we get into some of the new music, we can just kind of wrap up like the beef or like what happened with Drake and K.Dot, so we can talk about that, and then we're gonna dive into some of these new albums, and I want to hear y'all takes on it. So I'm gonna start off with Haji, and I want to know, like, what's your take from that beef? Let's hear it. Would you like?
yeah.
Would you dislike, etc.?
Um, I like so just trying to be objective as possible, because y'all already know my history when it comes to Kendrick Lamar. Y'all know uh I really rock with his like just creativity and things of that sort. But just being objectively speaking, I feel like Kendrick had slighted he slightly had beat Drake just because he beat Drake in his own game. But not saying that Drake didn't have a good song here and there. But that Family Matters was a very good song. It was a good diss song, but I feel like the strategy of Kendrick Lamar just squashed what Drake had going on. I feel like just the bombarding him with music back to back to back, that in itself was overtaking it, overshadowed what Drake did. Um, if anybody else would have did that, like if anybody else other than Kendrick Lamar would have did that, I don't think it would have had as much force. But because like looking back on it, because Kendrick Lamar does not drop as much music, people literally starve or they hunger and thirst for this man to drop music. So the frequency in which he did it, it was one surprising. Two, it was like some the music was it was good. Like, you know what I'm saying? That 616 from LA.
The
Six
6
six
a.m. in LA.
Yeah,
6 p.m. in
yeah. There you
LA.
go. Yeah. That song, that was, I would say that was the weakest. That was the weakest one out of all of them. But I mean, out of all of Kendrick's songs. But at the end of the day, I just feel as though, like, me personally, I feel like Drake only had one good one out of that one, like out of the beef, which was Family Matters. Like that, I can really sit down and listen to it in the future and be like, oh, that's the actual good song, as
For
opposed to
sure.
like what he had. But like, not saying that it was a clear blowout, but yeah, Not Like Us really wrapped it up. Like really, um, how can I say? Not Like Us really like it beat Drake at his own game, which was like
I,
coming up with a bop, like to make people really dance and sing. And that's why I was like, dang, Kendrick did something he was not familiar with. Like he does not drop music frequently all the time, like back to back to back. And then the kicker was he came out with a bop that everybody could listen to, play it in clubs, club banger. That's why I think Kendrick won. But yeah,
I
um,
can agree with that 100%.
yeah,
And Ace, I'm gonna let you take it, and then we're gonna let Zari put his 2 cents in too.
I'm pretty. Uh, Me and Haji had a sidebar conversation about it
hmm
2 days ago. Uh, I stand pretty firm on the fact that I'm pretty neutral, like in the middle. Um, I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan, but I do like some of his music uh, as well. Uh, Obviously, I think people will probably say I'm more of a Drake fan because I do listen to a lot of Drake, but neither here nor there. I feel like the beef. I felt like the beef was very uh, rewarding. I think that's the right word that I want to use. Simply because one, something that Haji stated on the fact that Kendrick don't really drop music like that. So, and the fact that in this beef, you're getting consecutive tracks, back to back to back on top, and they're great records. And then vice versa, even on Drake's end, you got great records. Now, of course, everyone can have their opinions on what was, which one was weak, which one was bad, which one was good, yada, yada. I feel like overall, we got good music, which could have either inspired both artists to, you know, put out a project or, cook up a project in the midst of that we could get, either this summer or, later in the year or next year or, who knows. But I just think overall, like that, I guess that passion or seeing that passion in artists nowadays, like we haven't really seen that. We've been getting a lot of, for lack of better terms, crap in
mm.
some people's music because they've gotten to a certain status or they've reached that pinnacle of I can just make whatever and just put it out and people are going to listen to it, which of course that's what's happening in today's time. You get a good beat and you just say whatever on it and people vibe to it because the beat is catchy, but it's not really a lot of substance within the music, and I feel like that's what we've been missing, and I feel like that's what they provided on both ends. That's why I stand neutral on it. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And as an artist myself, I think it's inspired me to actually want to continue to make music with some type of substance rather than just trying to make the next
Big hit.
bop or a hit that catches fire on TikTok or social media or whatever and get famous off of it. It's not, to me it's not about that. Like I make music because I enjoy it, and I feel like obviously artists of that pinnacle do too, and seeing that passion and them going at it and cooking up, hits. I feel like that kind of sparked up the game again. So kudos to them.
For sure. And Zari, your take on beef before we get into the new music?
Again, I'm also neutral on the subject. Definitely glad we got a lot of music. Like, when's the last time you heard of, two rappers having beef and back to back disses were dropped like within days of each other?
True story.
Like, I feel like nowadays, if this were to be dropped, people respond weeks, maybe even a month later, right?
And it's usually not nearly as direct as well. And that was a very direct beef. So yeah, man, it was awesome. Any other words before we push? And I know did Tuck tap in? Tuck, you in here? Make sure your
I'm here right now. So what I got to say, I'm not neutral. I'm not neutral at all. Kendrick Lamar won, and he put a beating on that boy. All right. So the thing is, there's a difference between MCs and rappers.
I wouldn't say
that's what we have to, that's what we have to capture.
It's his opinion,
substance. MC has substance. He has his finger on the culture. He understands what the people need, and he can see through the fake. And
Drake knows people need.
So Drake's not an MC?
Drake
you don't think Drake's an MC?
He said we need Sexy Red, don't it?
He's not from the fabric.
What is that? What is the fabric though?
What is the fabric?
Gosh.
All right, so we have I don't want to challenge all his aspects of his character, but a lot of the stuff that he is copying is he's taken a lot of people's style over the time. Now, I do like Drake. I do like Drake a lot because he does kind of refine a lot of things. But from the beginning, I believe all those people that dissed him throughout that whole album that Kendrick Lamar started off were people that he pretty much took a little bit from. And they were basically saying hey, we don't appreciate it, essentially. And and that's what happened. They're like, hey, you're a culture vulture.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's just how I'm saying. When I'm saying he's not from the fabric, I'm not saying that they haven't created their own style out there in Canada, but they took a lot of our style out here in the U.S. And since he's so big, it's sometimes people can be so big that they don't feel like they can lose.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm a little at odds though.
But he does pay homage. How do we claim
someone as a culture vulture?
How do you claim somebody as a culture vulture?
But
I would say, as long as you're paying homage, and I feel like Drake does the best that he can to pay homage. I don't understand why they're so upset with him, but the idea of the culture vulture is not taking away from people's authenticity. For instance, and that's what I kind of see in the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef. It's he pretty much has taken a little bit of everybody's authenticity to create this mega product, which is pretty much industry driven. And they're saying we are the real ones that basically live this stuff, that grew up listening to this music. Zari, I saw you put on a fresh pair of Air Force Ones the other day. So that's our lifestyle. We live that on a daily basis. And then you have somebody here that's kind of counterfeiting it.
Oh,
but who are we? How do we know he didn't live that though?
Who are we to? Because he was on Degrassi.
Oh my God.
That doesn't prove anything though.
Because he
could have been on Degrassi, and outside of Degrassi, he could have been wearing fresh.
Yeah, he could have been in the streets, huh?
He could have been. We don't know.
Maybe we don't know.
He could have been. We don't know. We don't know what Canada's streets like. We don't know what the street credibility is like.
I'm just repackaging.
Let's keep it that music.
I'm just repackaging the beat. That's all I'm doing. All I'm doing is repackaging it. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that he may not have been from the streets. I'm not saying that he might not have had hard times, all those other types of things. But I'm just repackaging the beat the way maybe you might want to see it from a different perspective.
I get it. And even to Haji's point of what he was saying, let's keep it music. Even keeping it music. This is just a point that I just want to make real quick. As far as how do we claim someone as a culture vulture without taking the fact of them
being inspired by a particular culture. Now, let's not dump away the facts. Drake is black, whether we want to say he is or not. He's black. His daddy's black. He's from Tennessee. He black. Anyways, so he's grew up in the music scene. Drake's dad's brother played for, some popular artist back in the day. He was a guitarist. So he's been influenced by the culture, obviously, and different genres of music, different artists, yada yada. Now, yeah, you can take and and pull and give your spin on what it is that you were inspired by. That doesn't make you a culture vulture. That's just where I stand. Because that's like saying, I'm trying to think of who. I don't know. That's just saying an up and coming artist, taken from an artist that's already, been doing this stuff and is popular, but then they use the inspiration that they got from a particular flow or style, and then they blew up off of it, and then they continue on. That's how a lot of artists today have really gone on to get their spotlight, because they hopped on a wave that was popular, and then push comes to shove, after that wave is over, is your content still good? And I think where a lot of us kind of missed that point with, I guess, this beef here, is the fact that Drake did exactly that. When he was coming up, he adapted into this persona or culture, as we want to say, and gained a monumental success behind it, made it his own thing, and now he's turned into this, for what people want to say a prima donna, or this, this macho head honcho dude. But he's just showing us who he really is. But he just had to do what he had to do to get to this particular point. That doesn't make him a culture vulture. That just means he was inspired. He took his inspirations and did what he did with it, and people mad at him for it. That's why
I have a question. The question that I have is quite simple. Who is Drake for real? Because
for real.
Let's really dive into this, since y'all really want to know. Like, I know you done said his background and stuff, but when I turn on the TV, let's just take it back to my favorite version of Drake. You get what I'm saying? Like, he has different personas, different eras of Drake. You know what I'm saying? I started liking Drake's music in 2016. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he came out with all the Views
Hotline
from
Bling.
the Six, Hotline Bling, all that. That was the era of Drake that I used to like. But then before then, there were people who was just like, oh, he was Take Care Drake. So I'm just like, is he evolving, or is he just shifting with the culture, and he sees what people like, and he's just like, I'm gonna latch on to that because I'm a very versatile rapper. I'm a very, like, my persona is very likable. See, that was the whole thing, that I feel like Kendrick Lamar, he did something that many people couldn't really put into words. They couldn't really put into actions. Deep down inside of everybody's every how can I say? There is an old saying that talks about you don't want to be everybody's friend. Because if you're everybody's friend, that means you're being fake. And I feel like that's what Kendrick Lamar had revealed. I feel like Kendrick Lamar had peeled back the layers of, like, not like Tuck is saying it outright. Hey, this man a culture vulture. Won't like him because of this. But it's there's an ambiance of, this man is like a chameleon, like, and he can adapt. And there's nobody else that can do that. And that's why he will go on to be appreciated in the future whenever he does put down the microphone. This man was, he stood his different types of versatility will stand the test of time. There ain't gonna be nobody there ain't gonna be another Drake.
Yeah,
Let's just keep
Drake
it like that.
is hard. He's hard. I'm not taking anything away from Drake. But I'm saying, when you're going against like a supreme MC that is from that, it's a lot different, right?
And
like the way Kendrick Lamar kept putting that it's like it's essentially like, for instance, like he's always paying homage to Lil Wayne, right? Or he's always paying homage to people from Houston, right? So that's kind of those types of actually created those flows, who actually lived in those environments. You can't fake that life. You can't fake that type of
Absolutely.
energy. And I think that's what Kendrick Lamar was kind of like
Right.
basically saying, like, hey, let me shake you. I gotta wake you up for a second. Like, this is who I am. This is where I'm coming from. And nothing against Drake. Drake is lit. He be coming with the hits. The hits.
Right.
But he's not like, and maybe in Canada he's solid out there, but what's really Canadian? That now.
For sure. All right. I understand.
Yeah, like you feel me? Like I
So
feel like
tie it all together, tie it all up. Let's wrap. Let's tie it all together.
One more thing. You can't take from the Meccas and then come through and try to be like, I'm that dude. Just keep paying your homage.
For sure. Okay. Haji, last take, go.
he said I'm tired of this. Oh, you talking about for the last thing or just
No. Your last wrap up on this. Your last wrap up on the.
Oh no!
Drake.
I mean, all I was gonna say is, man, we know we in the culture know who won, but we know at the same time, just because Kendrick won, that does not mean that Drake is gonna fall off and he's gonna be terrible. Nah, Drake is still gonna be off in his own lane doing the Drizzy stuff. BBL Drizzy is gonna live on. He's gonna do whatever he want to do. But we know. There you go. But we know who won, and the culture won. Like, not saying that Drake is not a part of the culture, but we know who, like, those who are in the culture know who really won, and that's all that matters when it comes to the beef. But
For sure.
yeah, that's why when it come to people hitting their wives and then pedophilia, all that stuff, that's all besides the point. But when it comes to music, we know who had won. That's it. That's all I have for that one.
Your take, Ace, final take.
My final take is I feel like the winner was already predetermined before the beef even started, but neither here nor there. Anyways, let's continue.
I'm ready to get on that new music.
All right, bet. So, quick push it. Who's your favorite recent album y'all listen to that y'all really like? Let's keep it like. What you feeling? Because I mean, let's talk about some of the recent albums that dropped. We can start there. So we got Gunna, 101, Chief Keef, Almighty, So Too, Party Next Door 4, Full Bats, You Made Me a Star, A Boogie with the Hoodie dropped the recent albums. Just a couple of the albums that dropped. We gonna start off with Zari. What was one of your favorite recent albums that dropped? Would you like?
Almighty, So Too, man.
Tell us about
My dog Chief Keef. Man, it's a weird space for Chief Keef, honestly. Someone that's like so influential in the music game. You know, I understand he's indie right now, and Ace. You understand what it's like to be an indie artist. I understand what it's like to be an indie artist. For someone who's so influential, how does 23,000 first week sales sound to you for someone like Chief Keef?
minimal.
Pimp C said minimal.
Repeat the question again. What'd you say?
I said, for someone that's indie, you understand what it's like being indie. I understand what it's like being indie. For an independent artist or an artist influential as Chief Keef, how does 23,000 first week sales sound to you for a person like him?
I think a person of his statue. I mean, I don't really know, because I feel like even
Under
people who are under labels themselves and they do that. I don't really think the first week sales really matter. I think it's the longevity of the project, and I think, and I personally, I really don't think it matters whether what happens now and even in the future, just because of what he dropped when we were in high school, for Christ's sake. Like we've still been playing and listening to that, and he's been living off of that up until this point. Like, so that just kind of goes to show, like, I mean, those numbers really don't matter. I mean, they do, but I mean, they really don't, because he's been living off of something that he put out almost a decade ago and living well. So
anybody else having under overperformed, or just doesn't, or first week sales don't matter?
I mean,
Nah, bro, I
just
don't
because
think
it's all
first week
shock
sales
factor, I
matter.
think. Like,
I don't think first week sales.
that's fair.
I mean, when I think of somebody that's independent that make music, first person I think of is like Frank Ocean. Somebody. I just think of like when they make music, it just lasts it lasts the test of time. Like people listen to it over and over, and they listen to it throughout the year. Like I don't think first week really matters per se, because it can pick up at any time, especially if somebody like it goes viral or people start talking about it later.
That's very true. It's not very telling just because of like, and it's a lot of other things going on right now too. You know, like just because you don't give people the initial however many hours in the first week to tap in doesn't mean people come back to an album and people fall in love with it, revisit it. We've seen albums before, you know, take a big jump and people revisit these albums and now they classics even way after the first week, hell, the first month, years. We've seen people revisit albums years later and come back and say that was their favorite album of all time. So yeah, man. Haji, any other recent music that you've heard that you liked recently? We got
No,
Chief Keef in there.
no, I ain't really listening. The only music I be listening to is gospel music, man. You know, I be gospel rappers sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I like BB and CC Winans. They had came out with a new album, and then what was it? The lady that sing "Take Me to the King." She came out with an album too. Yeah, but Richie, do you got any music you been listening to?
Not as of lately. I've been not on the music tip lately, so I'm just really taking notes from you guys and seeing what's going on with the industry. Honestly,
Yeah, Devin, listen to music.
Really
I don't
so.
know, maybe
like
EDM.
But
okay, I kind of like
what
backed away from music when the game changed, sort of like with the Drake took over, because I know Drake from Young Money. And like you guys say, first week sales don't really do matter, because I kind of piggybacked and went back to Drake stuff when it dropped years later. So, you
Yeah,
know, that's my take. I'm just listening to you guys' great opinions on music. So now when I go back, I can kind of change my catalog, because I was so much over here. I wasn't versatile in music like I probably be in sports or something like that. I probably had my eye on a few artists, probably two or three, and it was kind of like no R&B and none of that. So I'm just, taking notes from, Gunna and Party Next Door. I heard of them and I listened to them, but I don't give them my undivided attention. So, that's why I'm kind of mute in the chat right now, just taking notes.
For sure. All right. That I really not go. Sorry, I got something to get off his chest. Go.
yeah. I guess with that being said, though, since a lot of people aren't really up to date on the music. For the music you do listen to, how many projects a year do you expect from an artist? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting tired of artists. It might be your favorite artist dropping one project, and they take like 2 years to drop another one.
Kendrick.
Like Kendrick.
Like Kendrick, or
Right.
like Uzi, or like
K.Dot.
Cardi. Like, are you expecting more from these artists? Like, how many projects do you think is acceptable for someone who's like in the industry to actually be dropping?
I'm cool with one.
I go two.
Once a year minimum.
I want quality.
Right. I'll go
I
two.
stand by one. I stand by one, maybe two. I just feel like somebody said it.
I think for the whole year.
Yeah, nigga.
Yeah, I think
Like albums. You're talking like albums, like real albums, correct? Like just
yeah, like a
mixtapes,
four.
EPs.
Nah. I mean,
That's
if he
all.
dropping an
That's
EP
all
and different stuff like that, That's
A body of work.
just little stuff to get you by. But I'm talking about a
Okay.
body of work. So
Wait,
a
so you talking
14
about
to
like,
20 track album. Like I
whoa, that's a
expect
lot of
Wow.
1 to
work,
2.
bro.
That's a lot of work. That is a lot
That's
of
a
work.
that's a lot of work, bro. 2 times a year, that's a lot.
Three.
But see, I understand from my point, like when, like I say, Lil Wayne was a mixtape dropper. I don't know if the remixes count as like you would say body of work because somebody already made the track and he just got a later verse. Is we talking
Oh
about
yeah, true.
on like on hooks, on beats, on raps? Like if it's like that, then I'll take one. But it got to be like at least 14 songs, and I'll take one for my favorite artist of the year. I won't make him do two because that's a lot.
Yeah. That's why I said 1, maybe 2, just depending on how, really just depending on how I guess their particular year is going. But I stand by 1 simply
Yeah, I
because
agree with 1.
of what I was stating. I don't know who said it, but somebody said quality. Like I want
Yeah.
quality music. Like I want good music. I want to know what it is that like you're expressing or you're trying to give to the world essentially. Like
Ooh.
Can I add a quick comment to this? But when I was really into music, my favorite artist had a website, and I can see behind this. It wasn't just about music. It's like he gave us insight to his daily life, like his cars and clothes and
Who was
everything
it?
like that. So it was called Lil Wayne HQ. So I
Oh,
was able to
really?
go, yeah, I was able to go tap in and to get in tune with the first songs like unreleased or coming out. So these artists nowadays with the streams and everything, I'm still kind of catching up on it because someone told me like 1,000 streams is like only like $1 or $2. So I'm still understanding the new era, the
Mm-hmm.
new world order of music because
And they can
it's
have
not
fake
like
streams too.
right. And that's what they were saying with Drake that he's Einstein or someone's pushing his bots on his music. So it's like I don't, I'm still understanding that, and it's not like it's like $10 for your work. So I can see why the artists cut back on releasing or going so much hard for their fans because they're not getting $10. Like we're not going to the store anymore, getting that classic CD with the graphics on it, and it's $10 and that's worth a lot of money. They're
yeah.
actually, taking away. They're making it harder for the rappers to get money. So we kind of got to put that in perspective to why these artists are playing mean games and doing new other tactics, like when Drake did the drummer thing to the producer. Like they're doing more funny like skits and stuff. Like the rap beats to me is not really like real, like how it used to be. Like they're not going to see each other at the club or a concert and DMX style it out. So it's kind of like like I said, I'm still understanding the screens part of the game because it's not like you get $10 for your CD and a million people go buy your CD and you make that profit. It's kind of like I say, I have to listen to your song like 100 times a day for you to even get that. So yeah, the music industry is kind of it's watered down too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
watered down to me, but
It's all about
I still
the stream.
right.
Who got the catchiest song right now, and that's the song that's popular.
Hey,
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. Who that was? Me and Kaya, we was talking the other day about this year or last week was the first. Well, I mean, last week was the 4-year anniversary, or 5-year anniversary since what's that Tyler the Creator album that was that they said it was his best album.
Igor.
No,
Igor.
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 Yes,
Yeah.
I was
Bro,
like,
Igor was fire.
that's what I'm saying. But look. But you notice how Tyler the Creator, when he drops music, it's not like 2 albums in a year, 3 albums in a year. It's like 1 album every other year, maybe every year. And then when he drops it, I'm like, dang, bro, like I needed to hear that, bro. It inspired me to make more music.
But
Cause
see,
like
that's the thing about music. Sorry to cut you off, but
go
that's
ahead.
why going into it, it's more like it's about them having something to talk about. Like if they're constantly
Yeah.
dropping and dropping and dropping, like I stated earlier, I can't remember what segment we was talking about, but it's just more so like you got a lot of people that are just making music. One, because yes, it's fun, and two, because it's catchy. Like if it's catchy, you're gonna blow up. That's today's game. Like there's no substance in the music. It's crap. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of songs that I've heard that are like, oh yeah, this is super catchy. But 9 times out of 10, how many times are you gonna listen to that song?
Right.
Not
It gets
often.
out, it get
It's not
overplayed.
gonna age well because it's only catchy for this particular moment. Now, when we
One
go
hit
into
wonders
what we're
always been a
talking
thing,
about,
though.
exactly,
One hit
And
wonders
then
always been a thing.
think
exactly,
about this, guys, too. When we was listening to music back then, it wasn't just all on. Was it all on our? It wasn't just all on our phone devices. That was more so ringtones. We
yeah,
had
you
other
had to go on
things,
computers and
Yeah,
download and
radios,
right?
websites.
radio
CD,
stations.
right. So that's kind of like That's where I'm standing at in this conversation with debate. Like we had to have an iPod. We had to have
Yeah,
someone with the computer or CD. Like I say, like everything is on your device now. So with the device and the towers and everything, the 5G, where your thought could pop up on the ad, it's kind of it's different. It's very much different, and it could distract you from your music because you might get an idea pop up about your business, and you're not so in tune into music like that. Like it's
Yeah,
different.
you're not focused because of so many distractions.
yeah.
For
But
sure.
it's
All
it's,
right.
it's so ironic that it's all on one device.
Okay. All right. So close this out, Haji, for the last.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, guys. So the questions that I had a couple questions this week, and they are life questions. And I wanted to ask you these. I wanted to ask each and every one of you guys. We got like 6 people in here, 7 people in here. Let me go back to it. The questions that I wanted to ask, and we can go in order. So let's just say you have your lady, and you see a dude that you know. Like, let's just say you have a girlfriend. So you sitting with your girlfriend, and you see a dude that you know, and he's walking to you, and he gives you that. Do you expect that man to speak to you and your lady, or does he speak to you? If not, why? Or if he speaks to only you, why is that? Or if you want him to only speak to, I mean, if you want him to speak to you and your lady, why is that? So, I mean, I asked the question, so I'll just give my little brief question. I mean, answer and like where it came from. So I was on Twitter and I seen LeBron James was sitting with Savannah James, and there was a guy that dapped LeBron up, and he did not even acknowledge LeBron James' wife, and then he went on to dap up Anthony Davis. And I was over here sitting here thinking, and I'm like, man, if it was me and my fiance, like she would have should have told me about myself when we got to the crib. And I was just
But
thinking to myself, like, man, me personally, if this man is just somebody that I, see, like this is my first time seeing him, or if I barely know him, or if he ain't fam, then if he do that, then it is what it is. Like, hey, yeah, all right, it is what it is. Like, we just gonna keep it pushing. But if this is somebody that I really respect, I really like, then I'm gonna introduce him to, my wife, my fiance, like my girl. Like, then he's somebody worthy enough to meet my missus. That's my point, or that's my 2 cents. I give it to you, Mills. You can pass to whoever you wanted to, but I'm gonna pass it to Mills first. Go get it, Mills.
so also in this situation, you want to add context behind the situation as well, because Savannah James did not present energy that she wanted to be spoken to or talked to at all. She looked very frustrated. So I kind of understand where dude was coming from in that situation where he didn't want to bother a chick. They did not look happy at all in her in that particular moment. But I mean, how I am, I will probably say like, "Oh, this is such and such." But in that moment, hey, I understand why he did what he did. But me walking up to somebody, if I speak to him, or if they speak to me, especially if I speak to him, I will probably more likely than I'm like, "Oh, and this is who I'm with. This is such and such to me, so on and so forth." But I'll pass it to Zaire, and then we can keep it pushing.
I definitely agree. She did not look happy, boy. I want to say nothing either. Not gonna lie to you, man. If
Okay.
Shorty, I just don't want to get turned up on. That's it.
That's fair, Ace.
Hey, what you doing?
I mean, my opinion on it, I just feel like, of course, I kind of knew where it was going when he was reading it off.
Yep.
Before he stated that, I seen it on Twitter too.
Yep.
And kind of in the back of my head, uh, knowingly, I mean, I stand on the point of, obviously, if it's somebody that I'm acquainted with and that I know and that knows me, they know my wife. So
Yep.
if in any setting at all, period, if we come across each other at the grocery store, at a game, wherever, if you acknowledging me, you're acknowledging my wife, because we a unit.
Yep.
So you say what's up to me, you say what's up to her. You ain't got to give her no hug. You ain't got to be all friendly and none of that.
Oh yeah,
Even
that's
if she
extra.
does look unpresentable, just say, hey, you acknowledge her because she's a person. She's my person and she with me. And I know you see her with me. So that's just clear cut. If you know me, you know her. So it's just like, of course, it goes down to the fact of, later after the fact, if you don't say nothing, it's not to the point to where like, oh, we got to have a conversation, this and the other. It's just like, if we bump heads or we run into each other somewhere and it's just me and you, I'm not gonna be aggressive about it, but I'm definitely gonna be like, hey man, what happened? Why didn't you say what's up to my wife? Like, everything good? Like, we good? You know what I'm saying? Just to check the air to make sure everything's cool, because it's like that's my lady, and she with me. And if I'm somewhere, most of the time she's with me. So at that present moment, you seen her with me, but you didn't acknowledge her. Like, is there an issue? Like, you got a problem with her? You got a problem with me? Like, that's how I'm gonna take it. That's just me.
Okay.
Okay, I
Gonna
respect
pass it
it.
on. Yeah, I'm about to
Anybody
say.
else want to get a last little take on
Wait,
it?
I'll take on it from a standpoint of not seeing nothing, just listening to the question. I just want to ask the setting of the place may be a factor in why he did that. And you gotta understand who LeBron is. He's the face. So, I mean, from my perspective of not seeing nothing on Twitter, I mean, like I say, it depends on his relationship with LeBron. He knows, how the industry of Hollywood could get with with the relationship thing. So I think it wasn't that big. I think he acknowledged who he knew personally, and I don't think she took disrespect. I think it just was more so of, a regular thing. I want to say, you have to acknowledge my spouse, because some spouses may be, to themselves. I could see if it was a thing where it was probably for Bronny or something like that, and it was a family thing. Of course, yes, you could acknowledge the wife, but if it was just a game or just a little situation or something like that, yeah, man, you could holler at me and you could keep it moving. You ain't even got to do too much. That's personally for me. Because it's just energy. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the most. I think that's respect in another way too. I think he showed respect. In a different way from me. From how I grew up and my perspective on it. But like I said, if it was at a family thing gathering where my family here or something like that, but if it's just cameras everywhere, Twitter could blow anything up if he made a
That's
mistake
right.
and blushed too
Yeah,
hard, like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
she
true.
blushed
That's
when
true.
so it's just me being with knowing the internet, and they'll take anything and run with it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta watch what you say and watch what you do with the internet. So I think he was more so being conscious of the cameras. Like, I know he wanted to acknowledge, Savannah, because she's a pretty lady. Who wouldn't? That's like Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? But it's just cameras
All
around.
right, cuz.
All right, all
Pass
right,
it
all
on.
right.
Pass it on. Pass it on.
For sure.
all right,
Okay,
all
okay.
right, all right.
Any? All right, all right.
Devin,
Hey,
Is
Devin,
I
Devin?
go.
Devin.
What?
Is
Hey,
Devin
my
in
bad,
here?
my
Yeah,
bad,
can
my
y'all hear me?
bad, gentlemen.
Yeah. Go, Devin. We need to
Yeah,
hear your
Devin,
take. Go
go
get
Okay,
it.
ahead.
shit. I wasn't even sure because I joined late. But I didn't watch the video or nothing, so I have no context like everyone else was saying. But I say mainly it's a vibe for real. Like, if the dude I'm
Yeah.
walking up to like introduces me to girl, then I'll do whatever she does, sort of shit. Like, I'm following their lead. When it comes to me, like, I'm basically the same way. Like, I'm gonna introduce you because I know if it's like her with her girlfriends or whatever, like, I want to be known that I'm with you, sort of shit. So that I don't know. That's me.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right.
I respect that one. Next question, Haji.
All right, bet. Well, Tuck was still here. I don't know if Tuck can do it, but
Yeah.
Quick and to the point. Let's get it.
all right, bet. So, all right.
Y'all
So the
funny,
next question that I had, y'all funny, bro. All right, next question I had is kind of philosophical, man. What's your purpose on this earth? And since I'm the person that asked the question, I do it again. I get an answer. I think my purpose on this earth is to I'll give a little short story. I was told when I was in technical school, it was a pastor that came up on the bus and he said, "What would you guys want written on your obituary?" And everybody in there was looking left and right and was like, "What is this man talking about?" And I had said, "I want what's written on my obituary to say, whoever met me, uh, after they met me, they left a better person than before they met me. Like
Oh,
after they met Haji, they became a better person. That's all I want on my obituary." And then the pastor had said, "All right, I like what you said. So instead of having that be your obituary, have that be your life. Make that what you live for. Make that what you do right now." And that's what I feel like my purpose is. I feel like my purpose is genuinely to get people better, like to get better daily and inspire other people to be better, to be a better version of themselves. And that's what I ask you guys. Yeah, what's your purpose?
Piggyback. For sure, I'm gonna piggyback off that. Live a great life, do well for others, give respect to others, and try to build on your legacy, build for your family. Be a great impact to everybody that you're around, and do the best you can to grow yourself. And you, Zari, just keep it quick.
Make memories, man. That's
Memories.
all this life is about,
Sure. Ace.
People.
Recording in progress.
Ace.
Y'all said me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Inspire people and leave a legacy that lives forever. Whether that's through my kids that I tend to have one day, grandkids, etc.
Real. Tuck.
Yeah.
I would say always strive and prosper. Continue to definitely be like a person of knowledge, information, wisdom, and growth, and continue to like try to shine my light on the world. I think that's my true purpose, and also be authentic, be true to myself. Yeah,
That's real.
Richie.
Run the question about me again, real fast. I'm sorry about that.
What's
I
your
can
purpose on
I
this
can
earth?
say the right thing.
What's your purpose on this earth, cuz?
Honestly, my purpose is been dawned on me just to give back to the youth and to express my trial and error like my big brother did to me, and so they could be able to describe and grow and keep their legacy or start their legacy for their family, because some youth don't have a legacy or don't know where to start at or something like that. So my thing is to be able to give my knowledge to the youth generation and let them use it how they'll use it. But I have to get myself right first to do that.
Amen. And Devin.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what he said, as far as like doing shit for yourself first, that's a big thing for me. Like, I think my biggest thing is trying to. It sounds corny, but like I look at myself like a video game character. I'm trying to max all my stats. Because to be real, like I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people, wanting to do good for their family, wanting to do good for their community and shit. But like, if you got issues yourself, like you came from past trauma, or you don't have the financial, or you don't have the communication skills, or you don't have whatever it is to actually make that impact, all you're doing is like hurting yourself and then hurting the relationship. Plenty of people been like, hey, yo, let me borrow $10, and like you do it meaningful, but then you ain't got $10 and now it's all toxic and shit. So for me, I'm all about like improving myself as much as possible. Then from there, my family, and then once I can, community. But I think that people's priorities need to be that way, at least in my opinion, for there to actually be change and actually be able to give. But yeah.
All right, and last question for you is we all want to be 99 overalls. What's your overall right now? For you specifically.
Shit, me, I'm a shit talker to myself, so I'm gonna say like 69, just because it's a funny number.
There's gonna be a lot of editing in this episode.
69, God.
Last question, Haji. Let's get it so we can close out and pray and keep it pushing.
All right. What's the biggest obstacles that you've ever faced? Like, what's the biggest obstacle you ever faced, and how did you overcome it?
And keep in mind, y'all, we closing out. Let's keep it short and to the point. So let's go. We're going to start off with Haji.
Yep. Biggest obstacle I faced. I had a broken engagement, and it broke me. But I rebuilt myself, and God rebuilt me, and now I'm here now, better than ever. 5 years later. There you go.
That's real.
All right, Tuck.
I went through a really rough situation. I want to say about a year ago. You know, I got pulled over, and pretty much the police, they thought I was like drinking and driving and stuff like that. So I ended up in jail for like a couple of days, and then I was like faced with the reality of like, man, I don't know what my next few months to years was gonna look like. And then he just kind of brought me through it day by day, man. But yeah, that was pretty much it. But I stepped that, and I'm here now. So,
Amen, brother.
amen.
Mills.
I say just the career opportunity of trying to, figure out what's next. It's kind of difficult taking a risk on your career, trying to move on to that next level. So that's probably the hardest thing. And I'm still trying to go through it and, execute, plan, create the mission and execute it, So that's what I'm working with. But I think I'm doing a good job at battling everything. But yeah, that's what I got. Devin?
I'm trying to be quick. So I just say with my ex, like I stayed for way too long, lost myself as far as like who I am and what I stand for. Luckily that shit is done. And yeah, I'm on my purpose. And I am myself authentic. So yeah.
Ace.
Okay. Ace.
Biggest obstacle, I think, just learning just throughout the years that not everything is about you, and do what you supposed to do as far as providing, for yourself, but making sure that you give off the correct persona to those that you engage with, so that they see you in the light that you're supposed to be in.
That's real. Like Richie.
I could go in a lot of angles. I see it was a lot of relationship angles, so I'm gonna jump that hurdle and put it to myself. When I was had all my eggs in one basket for football, and the injuries I picked up, man, and I had to self-rehab myself because I didn't have like the insurance to go through it. I just rushed the process of recovery, or the process just was like, not there. So I had to during while I'm trying to gain, in a sense, like while I'm still playing, I had to recover certain injuries like my ACL, my hammy, in the midst of still trying to make it to the NFL. But no more the story, I didn't make it to the NFL, but I did recruit my body back, and I'm able and I'm active now with all the injuries that I had picked up.
Respect.
For sure. All right. Anybody else can state their piece?
That's it.
All right. And
wait, did Zari say something?
Zari stepped up.
Yo.
Oh, here.
What's up? Yeah, man, I had to get right with myself, bro. Spiritually, I had to find my peace in different areas of life, man. I definitely had to get right with myself, and that's probably my biggest obstacle.
All right, that's real.
I attest to that one.
Yeah, same. I ain't gonna lie.
Likewise.
Nah, that's real, bro. Well, I appreciate all y'all. I appreciate Mills for hosting it. Y'all really did y'all thing, bro. I'm most definitely gonna have some. I'm gonna have some editing to do, but yeah, it's gonna come out, and I'm gonna send it out to the chat. Can't wait to do it again. Mills, you can close us out if you want to.
For sure. Like I said, this is Fresh Fridays. Thank everybody for attending this week. We're gonna get back to it real soon. I love doing this with y'all. We're gonna keep it fresh. We're gonna keep it funky, and we're gonna vibe out and have a great conversation and learn and grow with each other. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna lead us out and say y'all have a great one. Thank y'all for showing up, and thank y'all for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to Fresh Fridays. Spread the good news by sharing our show with your friends. Follow us on all streaming platforms for more positivity and entertainment. Until next time, stay fresh and have a great weekend. Deuces.